working của TVisa ngày hôm nay. Thì trong lúc check-in thì mỗi bạn mình đã được phát một cái tờ worksheet có 5 câu hỏi bằng tiếng Anh. Thì các bạn giúp mình là xem qua và điền câu trả lời vào, và sau đó sẽ gửi lại cho ban tổ chức vào cuối chương trình nhé. Và những câu hỏi này thì bên phía guest speaker sẽ dùng để dẫn dắt các bạn cũng như là giải đáp trong cái hoạt động của ngày hôm nay. Và mình xin phép được bắt đầu chương trình ha. Buổi workshop training 2 của Grow Program bởi Liên minh du học sinh Việt Nam tại Đài Loan TVisa sẽ bắt đầu. Xin mời mọi người ổn định chỗ ngồi, và cũng như là xin chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với buổi workshop cùng với chủ đề kỹ năng phỏng vấn và networking tổ chức bởi Liên minh du học sinh Việt Nam tại Đài Loan TVisa. TVisa xin gửi lời cảm ơn và chào mừng nồng nhiệt nhất đến tất cả các bạn đã có mặt ngày hôm nay. Và vì ngôn ngữ chính của workshop ngày hôm nay là tiếng Anh, và mình xin phép được chuyển sang sử dụng bằng tiếng Anh nha mọi người. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second and also the last training session of the Grow program with the theme Job Interview and Networking Skills organized by the Taiwan Vietnam International Student Alliance, TVisa. On behalf of TVisa, we would like to send you our warmest thanks and welcome to all of you for being here today. My name is Luna, and I'll be your host of today. So job interview and networking skill play a vital role in any professional working environment. So TVisa has organized these workshops to support Vietnamese students in Taiwan and in developing these soft skills. So throughout today's session, we hope to provide you useful knowledge and interactive activities that will help you nail the interviews and do the networking more confidently. And we sincerely hope that this workshop will be both insightful and supportive for your career journey here in Taiwan. And let me quickly introduce throughout today's agenda. We'll begin with a warm welcome and program introduction. After that, we'll have an opening speech from TVisa representative, Ms. 𝐊𝐢𝐴. Next, we'll dive into the main session, job interview and networking skill with our speaker, Mr. John. And we'll take a 10-minute break in between, and follow up on that, Mr. John will then proceed to finish his training session, followed by a Q&A session where you have a chance to interact directly with him. And for the second part of the workshop, there will be a features sharing session from our two guest speakers, Ms. Trần Thị Như Tâm and Ms. 𝐊𝐢𝐴, who will share the experience with networking while working in both Taiwanese and Vietnamese environment. And finally, we'll have the second Q&A session where you can ask questions and engage directly with our two Vietnamese speakers. And before we dive into today's main activity, I'd like to briefly introduce our guest speaker, our distinguished guest, and our participants of today's workshop. So first, please allow me to introduce the representative from Grow Program Organizing Committee, the Taiwan Vietnam International Student Alliance TVisa, Ms. 𝐊𝐢𝐴. So today's training is honored to have the participant of distinguished speakers with extensive experience in communication and working in Taiwan. So let me introduce them to you. First, Mr. John Murn, founder of All Hands Taiwan. Please give him a round of applause. Next up, we have Ms. Trần Thị Như Tâm, Country Manager at LeTech Research Inc. In addition, today's training is also joined by a warmly supported by the representatives from Vietnamese Student Association from various universities. So let me introduce the representative of VSA NTUT, Mr. Dương Văn Học. The representative of VSA NTUST, Mr. Võ Văn Trực. And the representative of VSA MCU, Mr. Phạm Quang Huy. And furthermore, the The Grow program would not have been able to reach to so many Vietnamese students without the support of our media partners. Please allow me to introduce Ms. Phạm Thu Trang, a representative from Việt Nam Language Department of RTI. So, TVSA would also like to express our sincere gratitude to the VSA units for helping us spread the word and create a strong impact for Grow program. So we would like to extend our thanks to VSA Taiwan, VSA NTUT, VSA NTUST, VSA NTU, VSA NCU, VSA MCU, VSA NYCU, VSA NTOU, VSA NTHU, VSA NCKU, VSA YZU, VSA NKUST, and VSA MCUT, and VSA STUST. So, moreover, this program would not have achieved the success we see today without the sponsorship from our 9 Taiwanese companies partners, including Joy English, Artistic Biomedical, Zhensun, Giant, Johnson Health, FCC Partners, MaxiHealth, Arizona RFID, and Thai Jun. So these companies are currently recruiting for the position, especially for Vietnamese students. So you can find more detail about this job position in the leaflet we have given you in your hands. And in closing, TVSA is deeply moved and grateful for the enthusiastic support from our speakers, the VSAs, media partners, companies, and all the Vietnamese students who participated in the Grow program. And once again, let's give a big round of applause for everyone here today. To kick off today's workshop, I would like to warmly invite Ms. 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐡, the representative of TVSA, to sharing a few words and with all of the Vietnamese students. Please welcome Ms. Linh.
Hello everyone, my name is Liên in English and 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐡 in Vietnamese. So first of all, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of you here attending our second training workshop. And next, I would like to, it's our honor to have Mr. John Murn to join us. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with our Vietnamese student community here in Taiwan. I still remember when I was searching for a guest speaker for our training workshop, and by chance I came across your an event before and you hosted, and I was so impressed because of all of your meaningful work you have done for the foreigners, so to help them navigate their life in Taiwan easier. So that's why I reached out to you, and thankfully you are here with us today. However, because most of our participants are Vietnamese, so if you don't mind, can I switch to my mother tongue Vietnamese? Yes. Mình rất là cảm ơn tất cả mọi người ngày hôm nay dành thêm một buổi chiều thứ bảy mà hôm nay thời tiết nó lại còn mưa nữa và cũng khá là lạnh, mà hôm nay thì mình cũng nhìn thấy rất là nhiều gương mặt quen thuộc từ tuần trước và thậm chí là có những cái gương mặt rất là mới để đến tham gia sự kiện hôm nay với tụi mình. Thì thật sự là mình rất là cảm ơn cả nhà đã dành cái sự tin tưởng và đồng hành cùng với lại TVSA trong suốt cái chặng đường vừa qua. Thì ngoài anh John ngày hôm nay ra thì mình cũng có mời đến là chị Trần Thị Như Tâm. Thì chị thật sự là đã đồng hành cùng với lại TVSA từ những ngày rất là đầu tiên rồi, và từ năm ngoái chị cũng đã đồng hành cùng với lại Grow Program, chia sẻ những cái kinh nghiệm của chị trong cái việc là quản lý dự án và quản lý thời gian. Thì thật sự là hiện tại là chị Tâm profile cực kỳ đỉnh luôn mọi người ơi. Chị đã làm việc cho rất là nhiều những cái tập đoàn hàng đầu của Đài Loan trong lĩnh vực về công nghệ, và thật sự là mình tin rằng những cái sự chia sẻ của chị chắc chắn sẽ có rất là nhiều hữu ích dành cho các bạn sinh viên và cả anh John nữa. Thì chắc chắn là mọi người sẽ học được rất là nhiều, và cũng như là có cái sự chuẩn bị không chỉ về mặt tinh thần mà còn về mặt kỹ năng để mà các bạn tự tin hơn trong cái quá trình mà các bạn tìm việc. Thì một lần nữa mình xin cảm ơn tất cả những cái đơn vị đối tác, các hội sinh viên, chị Trang bên RTI Việt Nam và cả những guest speaker và các bạn sinh viên đã luôn đồng hành cùng với tụi mình, và cảm ơn cả team TVza và các bạn cộng tác viên ngày hôm nay nữa. Mình xin chúc cho chương trình của mình diễn ra thật thành công và chúc cho mọi người hôm nay đều sẽ mang về cho bản thân mình một kiến thức mới, một kỹ năng mới và chúc cho mọi người tìm việc thành công ở Đài Loan. Vâng, mình xin cảm ơn.
Rất là cảm ơn bạn Linh với những chia sẻ này. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Miss Ling, for your meaningful words. And to express our sincere gratitude to our guest speaker, I would like to warmly invite our distinguished guest to the stage to receive a certificate in recognition of their contributions. And I would like to invite to the stage Mr. John Murn and Miss Trần Thị Như Tâm, and I would also like to invite Ms. 𝐊𝐢𝐲𝐡, the representative of TVza, to come on stage and present the certificates to our guest speakers. Please welcome everyone. Okay, so we'll have pictures together. Okay, Miss Ling, please remain on stage with us. So next up, I would like to invite the representatives from the VSA to come on stage to receive gifts and thank you letters from TVza. So please welcome Mr. Dương Văn Học, the representative of VSA NTUT, Mr. Võ Văn Trực, the representative of VSA NTUSD, and Mr. Phạm Quang Huy, the representative of VSA MCU. Please welcome everyone to the stage. Our gifts, yes. Okay, everyone please remain to the stage. So we will have a group picture together. And next up, before we continue with our program, let's take a group photo together. So everyone, could you please come on the stage for a few minutes so we can have a group picture. Our cameraman, please help us to align everyone. Thank you, everyone. Cool. And now we arrive at the part that everyone has been waiting for. It's my pleasure to introduce with you today's our speaker, Mr. John Murn, who brings with him years of experience and deep expertise in working in Taiwan. So please welcome Mr. John.
Sure. Thank you everybody for being here today. Thank you TVza for inviting me. I hope you don't expect my presentation to be as well organized as this event. But I will do my best to try to give you some well-organized thoughts. You guys have put so much effort into preparing the event. I really am impressed by that. My events were much more casual than this. So I'll show the QR code a few times today. If you'd like to connect to me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to. I'm an avid networker. I'm happy to share information with you. I'm happy to help answer questions if I can. connect you to other people, things like that. I do think networking is the most important thing you can do for your career. Events like this will be, I would say, in the same category as networking for me, right? Hopefully the people in this room are people you can share resources with and learn from. I want to do a quick time check. Are we doing 30 minutes or, yeah, okay. So I'm just keeping somewhat track of where I'm at. Okay, great. So today I'll touch on several topics related to interviewing and networking preparation. So, you know, I think you're going to your interviews, doing your own networking. All of these activities are individualized. They are personal. We all have different personalities. We might be introverts or extroverts. We might smile a lot or be very serious. So I think, you know, the information and tips I'm trying to offer you today, I hope, are things that you can personalize and use in however you decide to approach your networking, your job interviews, and things like that. So I don't think I'll give too many I'm not going to offer you a lot of rules, but hopefully I'm going to offer you ideas and guidelines that you can use to personalize your approach. So there was a worksheet. Do you have the worksheet here?
Yeah, we distributed it to everyone.
Yeah, I just want to hold it up for 1 second. Feel free to make notes throughout the workshop. Yeah, can I just hold that one up? Thank you. I think T-Visa sent you a note beforehand. If you didn't do this, it's okay. But making some notes, or at least thinking about these 5 things, might help you on some of the brief activities today. I don't mind if you're writing while I'm talking. That's no big deal. If you want to make other notes on the back, please do. I will ask you to do a couple of very short activities where you write a few sentences, so you can use the back of this, but I believe there's also some other paper prepared in case, if you fill up this paper, you can just raise your hand. I think one of the T-Visa team will bring you another piece of paper. Okay, so a little bit about me. I have lived in Taiwan for 14 or 15 years. I have lived here 3 different times. I have gotten jobs in many, many different ways. I have been a teacher in an international school. I have freelanced. Okay, I'm a very honest person, so I'm going to tell you some things that I don't necessarily advise that you do, but I have freelanced illegally in Taiwan because there was no way for me to get a visa to do it legally at the time. This is many years ago, 15 or 16 years ago. I have worked for a Taiwanese company that could not give me a visa. I do not advise you to do this, but Taiwan still, unfortunately, has a lot of gray areas. Organizations like T-Visa and the companies they are working with are trying to improve upon this, which is great. But I think it's fair for us to speak about these things honestly so people can watch out for situations and protect their visa status. Okay, so I don't recommend that, but you may meet people. I'm sure that you all know people who are still working in some visa gray areas. And hopefully those are some of the areas that the Taiwan government is trying to improve, which I think they are trying to improve. But that being said, I have worked in advertising agencies in Taiwan for most of 10 years. I have worked at Catch Play, which you might know as a streaming platform, kind of a competitor to Netflix. They also bring movies to the movie theaters here. I was the regional social media manager at the time, was Taiwan, Singapore, and Indonesia. But right when I left, they added Vietnam, so I would have been working in Vietnam as well. After that, I was headhunted, so I've had the experience of a headhunter engaging with me and then introducing me to a company and me actually accepting the job. I had the entrepreneur visa for a short time, and now I'm currently an APRC holder, so I have my permanent residency. Currently, my job is as a consultant. I'm a higher education consultant, so I help people apply for PhDs and MBAs around the world. That's my day job. I also am a local business owner. I own a couple of restaurants and bars here in Taipei. And as was mentioned earlier, I did found a nonprofit here in Taiwan, which was called All Hands Taiwan. It's not officially finished, but we haven't had an event in a while. So if you're interested, you can watch our social media in case we have other events, but at the moment, nothing on the calendar. Okay. So quick overview of my agenda for today. We're going to talk about elevator pitches and value proposition as the kind of core elements of what I want to talk about today, and that's related to the 5 points on the worksheet. as a part of that, I will talk about interview preparation and strategy, which again, I think is very personal. I'll help us talk through what is an elevator pitch, what is a value proposition. Yeah, I'll try to hopefully invite you to think about how you can create these elements for yourself, a value proposition and an elevator pitch. So, I put these questions here, which we already have in front of us, right? To begin with, before I jump in any further, I will say if you have a question, the Q&A time is great, but if there's something I say that's not clear and you would like a clarification or you want me to elaborate, please just raise your hand. I'm happy to answer a question during the middle of the presentation. It's no problem. Okay. So, who thinks that they know what an elevator pitch is? Anybody? No, it's a new thing. Does anybody have an elevator pitch? I see one hand. Great. Does anybody have their own elevator pitch or think that they do? Okay. So, elevator pitch has a funny name because it's meant to be something you can say about yourself in the time that you're that lasts 60 seconds or less. This is, it's speculative. 30 seconds to 2 minutes. It's brief, okay? And it's a way to begin a conversation and make meaningful connections with confidence when meeting new people. Okay? So it's very normal for us to be nervous when we meet someone new, when we meet someone, especially when we meet someone important, right? So the goal of trying to work on your own elevator pitch is to feel prepared in this moment, to be able to quickly and briefly introduce yourself in a way that will help that person hopefully remember you and possibly be impressed by you so that you can continue the conversation or that you can rely on them remembering you when you, let's say, send a resume to their company. Okay, so now I was hoping there would be a little more skip this. Okay, I'll stay on this slide for another moment so that we can consider it. So people in your elevator pitch, and throughout the tips, about 5 topics on the worksheet are directly related to how you might want to craft your elevator pitch. Okay, so since there's not a lot of awareness of what an elevator pitch is, I don't think that it's necessarily useful for me to put everybody under the pressure of trying to do this for the first time. So instead, we'll go through the presentation, and that way you'll learn what an elevator pitch is, and at the end, we'll practice briefly, speaking to a partner and doing that with an elevator pitch. Okay, so moving on, I'll jump into interview etiquette. So I have kept this slide simple, but with many points on it because I hope for most of you these are mostly common sense. Okay, is everybody here? Are you a university student or graduate student? Raise your hand, please. Okay, great. Almost everybody. So that means hopefully you've been to other networking events. Maybe you're going to your career office. You maybe have an internship already. You've been to job interviews. So I do hope that most of these are common sense. But I want to touch base to make sure you understand. I don't think that these things are different in Taiwan than anywhere else, although maybe business casual is more acceptable in Taiwan than in some other places as far as dress. But when it comes to a job interview, cover these basics. Be early, right? You're late if you arrive directly on time. So always be early. Be extra early. I'm not a person who's very good at being on time, so I try to be extra early when I really need to be somewhere. Usually I'm only on time. Okay? Print your resume. Even though you've sent a resume to them, the people have it, you might walk around through the business that day, you might meet other people. The HR person might not have printed it. They might have just have it on their computer. That way you can hand it out to other people. You never know who's going to be able to contribute to the decision about your opportunity to get a job in a company, or you never know why they might want to remember you later. Okay? Not every job interview, obviously, unfortunately, results in a job, but that's still a networking opportunity as well. So you do want to dress professionally or business casual. Again, in Taiwan, often business casual is okay, but I think always level up for a job interview. Never let the person let that be a reason to not be impressed with you. Okay? Don't use the interviewer's first name, even if the person is very comfortable with you. I don't like to be called Mr. Murn. That's my dad. In America, we don't say Mr. John because that's just not culture. It's fine. I would tell each of you to please call me John. You can do what's comfortable with you. You're not in a job interview with me, and you're not likely to be in a job interview with me. But when you're going to a professional job interview, even if the person says, please call me Janice, I would recommend that you still use Miss Lin or whatever their surname is, okay? And lastly, make eye contact, smile, be a friendly person. That's a simple reminder because we can be very nervous. When we get nervous, we all do different things. Some of us look at our shoes, some of us make our hands busy, some of us forget to smile. But try to be conscious of your presence when you're sharing space with that person, okay? So again, I think those are the basics. I'm going to touch on them just very briefly. Okay, so I do want to talk more about these 3 points. And the intention with these 3 points is to create a balanced interview environment, okay? Most of us, when we go into an interview, are nervous, and that's normal because something important is hanging in the balance, and we might not get it if it doesn't go well. So it's natural to be nervous, and it's natural to feel that the company has all the power, and we are just, receiving whatever they give us and hoping for the best. But in the best case scenario in an interview, you can change the feeling of that interaction. You can change that experience by making it more of a balanced feeling, making it more of a conversation rather than maybe like a top-down feeling interaction, right? So these tips are meant to help you do that, okay? There's me. I couldn't find a good picture. I used too many stock photos in this presentation, so I snuck myself in there, okay? So I think this is the most important thing you can do, in my opinion, to prepare for an interview, okay? Know your material and know yourself, okay? So what do I mean by each of these points, okay? Know yourself. Know what your values are. Know what you care about. Know what your style is. Don't wear clothes that don't feel like you, okay? I don't feel very comfortable in a suit, but I shop until I find a suit that feels okay for me. You might feel the same way. Don't wear a bright color if you're not a bright color person, okay? It sounds simple, but it's not necessarily the case, okay? That's the same for your body language, right? I made a note, make eye contact and smile. You don't have to be like this all the time, right? But you can feel friendly and approachable. But do that in a way that feels natural to you, because I think most of us can tell when a person is acting in a way that's unnatural to them, right? Know what you want. This doesn't mean only the job that you are interviewing for, right? Do you want to negotiate a salary? Do you hope to learn about the business culture? Do you want to work on a different team than the one you're interviewing for? Okay? When you know these things, you're more prepared to answer questions that come your way, and probably more importantly, you're more prepared to ask good questions in the interview. Okay? Know your material. So what's your material? Your material is your resume, your previous experiences, your personal stories, your strengths, your skills. Sounds obvious, but when we're nervous, it can be hard to find these answers or these pieces of information that we think we know so well about ourselves. So you want to rehearse that and make sure you know it. And when I say rehearse this and when I say know yourself, I absolutely do not mean memorize a script. Okay? When we memorize things, we sound robotic because nobody in this room is a world-class actor who can say their lines and be dramatic and convincing. So, for the clients I work with who interview for MBA programs and PhD programs, I recommend that they study bullet points of information so that they can reference those bullet points and speak about them in a natural way. Okay? These 2 points, know the role and know the company. Again, I hope these sound obvious to you. First, I'll do the bottom one. Know the company. Go to their website. Go to their LinkedIn. Read news about this company before your job interview. Okay? It will be helpful for you to possibly make a chat with the interviewer about recent news about the company. Ideally, good news. But if the news is not good and it's concerning to you, you can also ask about it. And this still shows awareness, shows that you're paying attention to this company, that you want to be there. Okay? Know the role. This can be more challenging because different job titles might have slightly different meanings at different companies. Product manager at Amazon and product manager at GoShare are going to be very different. Okay? So you want to do research on what that means. What are the responsibilities? Read the job description, but also find ways to learn about that. You might speak to an employee who's working at that company. You can reach out to people on LinkedIn. A lot of people will give you their time. Okay? So knowing these things when you go into an interview will give you the greatest advantage of having a good experience. Okay? Next, match the other person's energy. In America, this is something that's sometimes referred to as car salesman psychology. Okay? This is something that car salesmen are known to do. The reason we do this is because subconsciously it makes the other person feel comfortable. Okay? So, I mentioned how much should you smile or make eye contact. If your interviewer is very smiley and they're in a great mood, it will help you to kind of be more smiley than usual because that person subconsciously will feel, oh, we're alike. Okay? As humans, we naturally like to feel that we're alike other people because if there's friction, that's uncomfortable, right? So you want to be likable. And one way to try to make a sneaky trick on this person and help them like you is to match their energy. So if they're being very serious, you can try to be a little bit more serious, right? So pay attention to that person. You don't need to mirror them directly, but they will show you signs about how they want to conduct themselves and how they want to conduct the meeting. And you can follow those signs, and those hopefully will have a positive, let's say, reflection in that person's mind. Okay? Third point here is for a win-win interview, be a great listener. So I mentioned that, you know, a goal of having a more comfortable interview experience is to have a conversation rather than to have an interview. Okay? So if you've done these things and you go into the interview and you know yourself and you know your material and you know the company, then you are prepared to have a great conversation. And the interviewer will tell you things that you don't know about the job role. They might tell you things you don't know about the company. This is where you want to be listening. If that new information is different from what you thought, then you probably want to ask a follow-up question about that. Okay? If you hear something totally unexpected, you want to ask a follow-up question about that. Okay? You want to say things like, oh, that's really interesting. I had read that was the case, but it sounds like something else. Okay? This shows not only are you listening, but you're being thoughtful. Right? So this person is going to switch into the mood of telling you things to interacting with you and having a conversation. Okay? So we always are going to have a situation where reading the job description will be different from talking to the HR person or the hiring management about the job. And those are great opportunities for you to interact and try to take the pressure off of this kind of one-way feeling engagement. Okay? When you're in an interview, I think it's great if you take out a notebook and a pen, even if you don't write anything down. Okay? It might be symbolic, but it shows this person, maybe again it's subconsciously, wow, okay, this person is prepared. This person is here to get information, to listen, to take this seriously, right? You may want to prepare questions in advance, which you wrote down or memorized, because again, this will help you turn this into more of a balanced conversation than just them talking to you. Okay? I would say in my experience, at bigger companies in Taiwan, HR people are going to be less prepared for you to have a conversation. So you want to find really polite ways to ask about something that they've said. Okay? Sometimes those people do like to have the feeling that they're running the meeting. And so you want to be delicate about letting that person feel that they're running the meeting, but also showing them that you are engaged and that you want to participate in a conversation. Okay? So again, part of that might be matching your interviewer's energy and just understanding the room, right? If somebody feels like they need to be in control of the meeting, you want to give them a little more rope. But if that person is very inviting, then that's a great opportunity for you to create balance by asking questions or sharing feedback about things. Okay. So now I'm going to spend the majority of the rest of the presentation on these two topics. Okay. a value proposition and an elevator pitch. So before I go on, I will touch briefly on this and differentiate between the two of these, okay? A value proposition, I'm going to show you a formal definition next, and we'll talk about it. But first, I just want to say the value proposition that you might create for yourself doesn't necessarily have to be something that you speak out loud. It doesn't necessarily have to appear on any documents that you share with anybody. But it probably will be the backbone of your cover letters, of your LinkedIn profile. It should reflect the way that you choose the language on your resume. Okay? So again, I'll show a definition and talk about what the value proposition is next. And the value proposition should inform your elevator pitch. Okay? But your elevator pitch is what you're going to say to people. Okay? It is going to be different when you talk to different people. Okay? There's 9 different companies hiring in this cohort, right? So we have giant bikes, we have manufacturing companies, we have technology companies, okay? If you happen to interview at 2 different companies in this cohort, your elevator pitch probably should be a little bit different because you want to tailor it to who you're speaking to, okay? So if any of you have studied marketing, you might want to think about this as the value proposition is kind of like the brand or the branding, and that includes things like how and why we do things. That includes our philosophy, okay? And the elevator pitch is kind of like the tagline, right? The billboard that we see, or the catchphrase on a TV commercial, okay? So your brand might be the things that are central to you, what you care about, how you do things, why you do things. What are the big problems you want to work on? What's the big impact you want to make? But the elevator pitch is going to be more specific, like what job do you want, right? What industry are you interested in? Okay, so I'll spend some time on that because I think, again, these concepts might be new for many of you, so I'll make sure we spend some time and try to understand that. And hopefully you can turn these exercises into something that will be useful for you because I think we all think we know ourselves. We all think we understand our own values, but when we actually go through an exercise like this, it can really help shape the way you realize you want to talk about your career goals, right? Or the way that your values apply to the way you want to work. Okay, so as I mentioned, I started talking about this as a marketing concept, okay? So a value proposition, so we all understand what the word value means, right? If we're purchasing something and it's a good value, it means we feel that the price was good for what we got back, right? Or if we spent our time on something and it had a positive emotional response for us, then it had a good value for our experience, right? And a proposition is, right, when we propose someone to marry us, we ask them, right? We offer them the opportunity to spend their whole life with us, right? So a proposition is like a promise that you make, okay? So this is like your value promise. It's how you can think about that, okay? So from a company marketing perspective, a value proposition is a statement that explains the unique benefits of a company's product or service offers to its target audience, highlighting what makes it superior to its competitors. Now, if we want to apply this to ourselves, we can change this to read like this. A value proposition is a statement that explains the unique benefits that you offer to potential employers or clients. It highlights how your experiences and values make you uniquely qualified for your field and role. Okay? I don't think there's a right or wrong way to write your own value proposition. And I'm going to show you a few examples today, and they are purely examples. Some value propositions might be 2 sentences. Some value propositions might be 6 or 8 sentences. It's something that you can workshop for yourself as you get a better understanding of how you want to talk about yourself as a job candidate or as a business owner, an entrepreneur, job seeker, wherever you see yourself. Okay. Any questions so far? I know this is a new thing and it's very conceptual. Okay. So I mentioned that value proposition and elevator pitch have different jobs. Okay, so I tried to show how you might think about these differently and understand them. Okay, so your value proposition is aspirational. So an aspiration is something you would like to do. Okay, so your value proposition talks about, I've mentioned today already, philosophy, values, goals. Okay, and your value proposition usually will be big picture. What kind of impact do you want to have on a big problem in your country or in the world or in your industry, right? And this will talk about your values, your philosophies, what you care about, how you do things, why you do things, okay? And how you sell yourself. So this is how you choose to talk about your strengths, okay? But your elevator pitch will be focused on what you're doing now, which is targeting a job. Okay, so while this one will be generally about you and how and why you do things, this will be targeted at what you want to do right now. Okay, you should tailor it to the job you want or the company you want to speak to, and you should talk about the value you provide. So I'm going to talk about the difference between these two statements later. Your values and the value provide, those are different. Okay, but for now, the idea is, this is your big ideas about what you do and what you do well and how and why you do it. This is your marketing tagline about yourself, targeting one job or one role that you want to get. Okay. So I have written here an example value proposition of someone who might be in your situation. Okay. I want to support Taiwan's nursing shortage by creating government-university partnerships to provide sponsored education for Southeast Asian students who want to work as nurses in Taiwan. Okay. Big picture. I want to support Taiwan's nursing shortage. Okay. That does not mean I want a specific job. Does this person want to be a nurse? No. This person wants to work on a bigger problem. And the big problem is Taiwan needs more trained nurses, right? I'll break this down into points later so that we can understand what the different parts are of this kind of statement. Again, related to what you wrote or might write or think about on that sheet. Okay, but I'll just let you think about this for a moment. So proof points I note here. If you get this far in a conversation, or if your elevator pitch is more specific and you get to this part, this is your opportunity to talk about why you're capable of doing this. Okay, prove it, right? If I tell you I can dunk a basketball, who in this room believes that I can dunk a basketball? Anybody? Thank you. We have one believer. I'm not very tall, and I'm not very young anymore. So I would recommend that you shouldn't believe that I can dunk a basketball until you see me do it, right? And that's why we need proof points. So if this person earns a conversation with someone who could help them with their career aspiration, then they have an opportunity to prove why they will be capable of helping to work on Taiwan's nursing shortage, right? So very briefly before our break, I do have a quick activity. I would like to invite you to write a first draft of your value proposition. So you can use the back of your sheet or whatever you have handy. Again, however many sentences you feel comfortable with. This is a first draft. It doesn't need to be perfect. Explore the language. Also, you're all writing in a second or third language, which is amazing. Take your time. Explore the adjectives and verbs you want to use. Remember, value proposition. I'll go back one screen or two screens. Is it more helpful to have this or this on the screen as you try to write your own value proposition? This one? Okay, I can switch to the other one in a minute. So we're going to take a break in a few moments, but everybody please spend a couple minutes trying to write a first draft of a value proposition for yourself. Again, doesn't have to be scientific. Nobody's is going to be any better than anyone else's because these are all very personal. But this is an important chance for you to explore why you do things, how you want to do things, related to what you want to do. Okay, so we're doing this side. Okay. Something that's related to you and similar to this, okay? It's okay, like I said, 2 sentences, 4 sentences, 6 sentences, it's all okay. Because you can workshop this for yourself. And throughout your career, this is going to change. You're not writing a boilerplate today that will never change. This will be something you will, it will evolve with you as your career evolves. Annie, I think you can call time whenever you want. Or sorry, is that how you want to do it, or? Okay. I want to keep us on time as much as possible, so I think at this point you guys had a little bit of time to write. Whenever you're finished with that, I guess there's going to be a 10-minute break. So what time should people be back in their seats? 3:11. Okay. So once you've sketched something out there, feel free to take a break. Restrooms are somewhere nearby, I assume, and things like that. Okay, great. Thank you.
Đó thì em nghĩ cũng được rồi. Nhưng mà cảm ơn chị Chi để viết.
Em viết. Trong cái chị viết đó, cái màn hình không có được chia sẻ. Chỉ có thấy màn hình cái
Ồ, sao em hỏi Huy là được chia sẻ chưa?
Không, bên đây phải chia sẻ bên đây chứ.
Đúng rồi.
Vâng.
Phải chia sẻ